Yeah, so here we are, a year later, we got episode 2 of Kaiser on the air. We have our good friend ItsRimuruu. So, as I stated in the last episode, what this podcast is originally for, we're not getting to quite yet. I just want to interview some of my other content creator friends and just kind of ask them how their daily goings on with Twitch and YouTube or whatever with content creation, just get to know them a little bit better. So with that being said, let's go ahead, let's hop into this first question. How'd you come up with the name ItsRimuruu?
Well, I am a huge weeb.
Mhm.
I love anime. I don't know, after watching the anime, that time I got reincarnated as a slime. I really resonated with the character.
Mhm.
He's a very funny, outgoing guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you say you're a weeaboo. What would you say your favorite anime is then?
Oh, that's a hard one, but definitely One Piece.
One Piece?
One Piece
Yeah.
it's it.
Okay, all right. One Piece. Man is a fan of One Piece.
Yep.
Alrighty. How far into One Piece are you? I know did you recently start, or have you actually like been going with One Piece?
I started One Piece about maybe a year and a half ago, and I am caught up to current now.
Ooh, okay, cool. So good
Yeah.
to know. If I want to start, I just need to only watch One Piece for a year and a half straight.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. Pull up my list here. So what brought you into the Twitch sphere, like the streaming world? What's the reason you started streaming in the first place?
Oh man. Well, I used to play on PS4.
Mhm.
That's pretty much all I knew at the time, and I used to watch Ninja way back in the day.
Mm.
Watch him play Fortnite, and that
Okay.
made me want to start streaming. So I picked up Fortnite, tried to stream that a little bit, and then
Mhm.
I got into Rocket League,
Mm.
and I started streaming Rocket League consistently. But that was back, on a PlayStation. I didn't have a webcam.
Yeah.
It was, the starting days of streaming.
Yeah, no, I know those. I too actually started streaming on the PS4, but I was lucky and I had a little bit of extra income, so I had gotten like a snowball microphone
Oh,
and
yep,
the PlayStation camera. And so
yeah,
I know
that's good.
my days started with a lot of Dead by Daylight, unfortunately. Uh
Nah, it's a
um
good game to stream.
some days.
Yeah, yeah.
Um What do you think are some of the bigger challenges that comes with content creation on like any level, whether you're just starting out, you're kind of like there on like the middle ground, or like high viewership, you're grinding for like 12 hours a day? Like what, or with you personally, what do you think some of the bigger challenges with it are?
Uh, well, I mean, with me, I'd say the hardest thing is, you know, trying to view streaming as a hobby because, everybody wants to make money gaming.
Hmm.
That's just how it is, and
Hmm.
when you start streaming and you're like, yeah, this is it, I'm gonna make it big, and you don't see the views that you want to see, it can be hard to keep going.
Hmm.
But you just gotta play and have fun.
Hmm.
That's what it's all about, anyways. Making new friends, meeting new
Oh,
people.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say that's something that I experienced because I took a very long break, and then when I came back, it just the viewership wasn't the same, and it messed me up mentally, I'd say. But getting back into the swing of things has been nice. It's been nice to stream regularly again.
Mm. No, 100%. I feel you there. I feel like that is a death sentence for anybody trying to start this, is they go in with the mentality of they're gonna be the next big thing, they're gonna blow up, they're gonna make all this money, da 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 da, and then they get like a month into it if they're lucky, and they're like, oh, I have 2 people watching, I'm doing this, da da da, and I'm not, and then they just stop. I know that was an issue for me when I first started. And then I kind of just gave up looking at it for the money, and I was just like, screw it. And then 2 weeks later, I got affiliate. So,
Yeah, yeah.
so, so you've been streaming on Twitch for how long now? A couple of years now? Like 3 years? 2 years?
Streaming regularly for about 3 years, but all in all, since PlayStation, it's been about 5.
5 years? Okay. What are some of your biggest achievements you feel in your entire time with streaming?
Well, there's a few. Being able to do a 27-hour long subathon, that was, like, let alone the viewers made it possible, but the fact that I was actually able to stay up for 27 hours and I only played Dead by Daylight the entire time. That's a feat in itself,
Yeah. Yeah.
But then I would say the other one is getting rated and getting featured in a partnered streamer's video. That was probably one of the wildest things that I've ever experienced. I didn't know how to handle it, but it was huge.
That's insane. One could only hope to get that lucky, to be honest.
Yeah.
I could only hope to get that lucky.
Right.
That's insane though. I don't think I knew about that one, about you, a partner streamer. Or I might have known. I may have let it slip my mind there. So with that being said, we talked a little bit about the highs of streaming. Let's get into the question of every streamer's worst nightmare: burnout. Have you ever ran into it? And what are some ways that you have inevitably had to combat the burnout? Because everyone's run into it at some point or another in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that is it's a problem. And it kind of relates back to, seeing streaming as a hobby, because a lot of people, they like we said, they get into it and they're like, this is it, I'm gonna pop off, I'm gonna be the next big thing, so they stream constantly. And this is what I did. I streamed constantly, day in, day out, 6 hours at a time, 8 hours at a time, for months straight. And the viewership was good and everything was going well, but I burnt myself out way too fast because I was playing the same game every day for 8 hours a day. And that love that I had for the game slowly turned into, oh, well, looks like I better clock in,
Yeah,
like
it turns into another chore, basically.
Exactly. So I'd say the way that I combated it would be, for one, I switched games for a while. I started doing variety streaming and I started streaming less, just because, sitting behind your screen and playing for so long every day, it's I don't know, it's a chore in itself, really. Like, you wanna you want to have good content, and I feel like if you're there for too long doing the same thing over and over, you can't provide the content that you want to bring out to your community. Yeah.
Okay. No. I am so bad at speaking. I keep saying yeah, and like and all that. No, there we go again. Hang on, I'll figure out. Anyway, but no, I know a lot of people, they've gone into streaming and they've hit burnout, and then like me myself, I just felt like, oh, like a lot of the time I'd cancel stream because I just don't have the energy for it, because after a while it's just like you're like putting on a uniform and you're going to work, or like you're just throwing on a mask. Like you could be in a bad mood and then you're like, oh, I got 5 minutes to stream, I gotta turn around and be happy and goofy and all this so I can
Right.
do this shit. So
It's hard. It can be hard.
it can be very hard. A lot of people don't understand the the more like mental taxing it can be, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you do a variety of games on Twitch, or you have at least. Just as a gamer in general, what would you say your favorite game or game franchise is? And can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, I mean, usually when somebody asks me what my favorite game is, I say Dead by Daylight. Even though I've played that game since it came out. I have well over 4,000, 5,000 hours in it.
It's a love-hate
I
relationship.
Yeah, I quit playing it constantly, but I always end up going back to it. I'm an absolute horror freak, so that's probably why. I love the idea of getting
Yeah.
chased by Chucky or the girl from The Ring. Like, of course, like horror 4v1. Like, I'm all about that game. All about that game. Even though I say I hate it constantly, I still thoroughly love it.
All right. So I'm glad that you said Dead by Daylight, actually. So what I did with Fox was, and what I plan on doing is like a joke question kind of at the end of the interview. But instead, since I've got a man who's got like 5,000 hours in the game, let me see here. They may not have this up yet, and I'm very upset. Let me see if I can find... Yeah, that's why, because that's a pinned tweet. So I want to talk about... They just released what they are going to put in the PTB for a little bit, the 7.7 update.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things here, or there's a few things here, but I just want to bring up a few of the big ones that I've seen a lot of discourse on Twitter for. We're gonna start off. Have you played Blight at all? Even a little bit, or yes?
Yes,
Okay.
I have.
So, what we have here is they are changing it so they have improved collision detection to reduce cases of when you are sliding off objects. So they are removing hug tech from Blight, essentially, is what it seems.
Okay.
What is your opinion on that? I haven't played Blight all that much, so I don't know. I would think as someone who tried playing Blight and was sliding off everything, like, I think it's good. But I know a lot of people are angry because hug teching is gone, essentially.
Right. I mean, I can see why they're upset, but when you're playing Blight and you run into a tree and you're expecting to collide with said tree, but then you just slide right off it, that can be insanely frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
So I think in the end it's a good move.
Okay.
But with a lot of people that actually play Blight consecutively and are like really good Blights, it might throw a loop in their play style. They might have to change some stuff up and learn some new things.
I mean, that's all anybody in the community has ever done since the game's inception. There are so many different techniques and moves that have been learned. Like, I remember when 360ing first became a thing, and then they changed the animations, and 360ing just wasn't effective anymore, or it felt weird because of the new animations.
Yep, I remember that too.
So that was a weird time in Dead by Daylight history, was the whole locomotion change. I feel.
Yeah, that was so weird.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why, but I also don't at the same time. I feel like it was an unnecessary change.
In all honesty, I think it was just trying to like beautify the game, just make it look nicer. Like it seemed kind of dated at that point, I guess, in the devs' eyes. So that's why they wanted to change it, which is a fair, but
yeah. I mean, it is an old game, so it makes sense.
And then the other things I wanted to bring up, we have 3 perks that are getting changed.
Uh-huh.
Ultimate weapon. We're now revealing the auras of survivors instead of causing them to scream. So we no longer have action interrupts when it is activated.
Really?
We reduced the activation time to 15 seconds. It was 30 seconds, so they have the time. I don't know if that's just the time where auras are revealed or whatnot, so I don't quite know what they're doing with that. And then they have increased the cooldown by half. So before it was 40, 35, 30, tier 1 through 3, and now it's 80, 70, 60 seconds before you can use it again.
Okay. Okay. I like the aura reading. I think it's gonna be a little. I feel like it might be a little OP for the killer, but not getting interrupted while doing an action is gonna be nice for the survivors. So I feel like that's a pretty good trade-off.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad they increased the cooldown because that was it was a little much. Because
It
every single time they get a
it
hook, they go to a
was
locker and open
yeah.
it.
It got really annoying. I think I honestly feel like Ultimate Weapon was in the meta for a while actually. Because
Yeah.
just everybody
Yeah,
ran it because it was easy tracking, to be honest.
Right.
And then I know the only issue, I feel like if a killer's gonna bring it, it's gonna add a lot more tension because now that you're not screaming, I don't think there's gonna be any way to know that they have Ultimate Weapon.
Yeah, no,
So it'll
really
definitely bring a
not.
lot more tension into matches.
Yeah, no, it really will. Other than like, if a survivor sees them
Yeah.
open a locker and then go right towards somebody, but
Mhm.
that's gonna be pretty much the only way, I think.
Yeah. We have a buff to Decisive Strike, D Strike, as known in the community. They have increased the stun duration to 5 seconds from the 3 seconds. And then outside of that, we are seeing a new animation, a new stabbing animation when it's used successfully. So
Really?
yeah. So I'm excited to see what that's gonna look like.
Heck
And
yeah, that's
then
cool.
yeah. And then I personally think the buff could be used, but I'm an extremely low tier player, so my opinion doesn't matter. But I know a lot of people are irritated because it's 2 seconds longer and it's just going to force people to play faster killers, like Nurse, Blight, Spirit, to just instantly catch up to you anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
um
I'm not upset about it. I think it's
mm.
I think it'll work out just fine. I want to see that new animation though.
Oh,
That's cool.
100%. I will actually be installing the PTB for once. And then the last perk they are updating, and I was very afraid because I run this perk all the time. Adrenaline.
Oh no.
And I was very surprised when I read the PTB, or not the PTB, but I read the patch notes, because they didn't kill it per se.
Okay.
So it no longer activates when you're hooked after the gates are powered, which I don't know. I'll hear your opinion and I'll kind of give my opinion. They also dropped the speed boost duration to 3 seconds from the 5 seconds. And then specifically when you're running against the nightmare, it no longer causes you to wake up from the dream world.
Okay. I mean, I like the idea for killers with the you don't gain a health state if you're already being hooked. I think that's good for killers, but a lot of survivors really banked on that, so I feel like the survivor side of the community might be a little upset. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't gone against a nightmare in a very long time. I don't really think a lot of people play him
No,
anymore.
Freddy is. I don't think Freddy has ever made it above like C tier in any like tier rank videos. They did say that they changed that one specifically because they have been cleaning up a lot of perks that have had specific mechanics against very specific killer powers over the years. And so I guess this one was just kind of on their list.
Okay, okay. And
Um,
what was the second change?
um, the speed boost was dropped to 3 seconds from 5 seconds.
Oh, that's not terrible.
No, I don't think so at all. Because most of the time, I mean, even 3 seconds, if I'm popping adrenaline and getting away from a killer, like 3 seconds would be enough to get me to
Yeah,
a pallet to a window or something.
absolutely.
And then I do have to agree with you, as I've seen on Twitter, because I am chronically online, a lot of survivors are very upset about, oh, I can no longer have adrenaline if I'm hooked when the gen pops. That's cool. But like most of the time, I'm using adrenaline. If I'm using adrenaline, I'm either not in chase and already by a door, or I'm in chase and like it just allows me to extend the chase longer.
Right.
So
Right. Exactly.
I feel like this is going back into the like the phase camp mechanic deactivates after gates. Like I feel like it just it tries to balance the scales a little bit more. So the killer, if they're trying to secure a kill, they don't have to phase base kit BT and then adrenaline. And then on top of any other perks I love, survivors like to bring, like off the record, buckle up. Or for the people, buckle up.
Yeah. And that's a great combo.
Great combo. Killers hate it, but it's a great combo for us.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree. I don't think it's a bad thing. I really don't. I think it makes it, which is, this is going to be weird for me to say, but a little more balanced. Usually I don't talk about balancing and stuff like that because I play both sides. I play Survivor more, but you know, I can see when it's gonna be good for the killers or if it's just gonna be way too strong for the killers. And I feel like that's, you know, that's balanced. It's equal.
some even trade-offs there with that one specifically, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but outside of that, we've got some changes to twins, which I don't know if you really want to get into that or not. We have Haddonfield changing as well.
Haddonfield's changing.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, so really quick, updated map layout, reduced overall size, reduced the length of hedges and fences to create more openings. So, I don't know. I feel like that could help both sides. I mean, it's not as irritating as someone who's played Haddonfield as a killer. Those get really annoying sometimes.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, it also allows survivors to kind of just not be stuck in an opening if you're against a ranged killer like Deathslinger or Huntress, or God forbid a trickster.
True. Oh yeah, yeah. No, that's true. That's true. I'm okay with that.
Let's see. Reduce the number of houses in the map.
Really?
Many houses were actually closed. Okay, many houses were closed off, making the map larger without any room for gameplay. Reduce the number of houses that spawn, though each one that remains will now be open and playable. And we've also reduced the strength of some of the strongest window loops to be fairer and more interesting to play. So, are we going to see the death of House of Pain?
I'm assuming so.
I'm assuming so as well.
Yeah. That's a good house for survivors.
Let's see, and then they've just made some. Ooh, okay, we see some visual overhauls with the store as well.
Really?
Okay. Yeah. It looks a lot cleaner. It looks like a standard item shop now. Like think of like Fortnite or something with like that kind of layout.
Interesting.
Oh.
Well, I'll be excited to see that.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right. So with that being said, that is all I have for you actually.
Okay.
So yeah, that was ItsRimuruu being interviewed, episode 2 of Kaiser on the Air. Episode 3, I don't know if I'm gonna try and get squishy or if I'm gonna redo my interview with Laurie Music. We'll see what happens there, and hopefully it'll be a lot less than a year that it goes out. But yeah, that was the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you savage animals in the next one. Goodbye!